Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing for Christmas school and some ideas on maybe some things that you could do, whether this is your 5th, 7th, or first year homeschooling. You can add a little bit of festivities into the day if that's what you choose to do. Big disclaimer, Christmas school is not necessary. Just because you homeschool does not mean that you have to Christmas school. You can just keep rolling right along, keep your routine and your rhythm going, and rock out the rest of the year. So, none of this is necessary. It's just some things that we add into December to kind of give homeschool just a little bit of a change. But if this is your first time here, I am a homeschool mom to a 4th grader. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something that interests you, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up. So again, just remember, I'm going to be showing you a few things, maybe a lot of things, but you don't have to do them all. We're not really doing them all. I'm going to give you some ideas on some things, but I'm just showing you some stuff. Now, first, my homeschool lesson planner has really come in clutch for this because I have quite a few things kind of in the process, and usually I don't use the month like this. I usually don't use that, but I did use this. I did use it this time for December because I was able to really plan out some things, and that has super duper helped with kind of getting everything streamlined and making sure I'm not putting too much on one day. Now, first, let's just look at some stuff. Let's say you don't want a Christmas school. You want to kind of keep your rhythm and your routine the same, and I totally get that. There are some years that if you tried to rotate your routine around, you would just be paying for it for the rest of the year and into the new year. But maybe you do want to add something just a little bit small, and we absolutely love paint by sticker. I bought these and we reuse them. Well, not reuse them, but we just do a few every year. And so this has actually lasted us I want to say this is the 3rd year on the paint by sticker with the Christmas. And so she'll do 2 or 3 a year, and then I'll put them up, and they're just really fun. This one especially has all these super glittery stickers, and so you can see you have the numbers. Great for number recognition if you've got a smaller one. Great for if you're doing a Christmas read aloud, and this kind of keeps some hands busy. I love paint by sticker. There's all sorts of themes, but of course we're talking the holidays, so the Christmas version is what we've got going right now. Really fun. So you can just add this and be like, yay, let's enjoy our day, and we threw in a little bit of holiday. Another kind of along those small lines is I actually snagged this at a thrift store for $1.99. I haven't quite taken the tag off of it yet. I'm not going to do it right now, but it is my book of Little House Christmas paper dolls. We've never done paper dolls before, but this was actually intact. Now, we did it over Thanksgiving because that's where we found it while we were on Thanksgiving break at a thrift store, but it's really neat. It kind of tells the Christmas story of Laura Ingalls. It's super sweet. If you are a Little House on the Prairie fan, you can see we have the paper dolls on the covers of both, front and back, and then it came with this little fold out scene. So we haven't done this yet as far as the paper doll things, but I think we probably will, because how cute is that? This will be more like a relaxed morning sort of thing or afternoon thing after we're done doing our school for the day. Now let's kind of get into some Advent books. Oh, one other thing we use is, and we've used it for years, it's a little, let me just show you. All right, I had forgot to bring this in because it's actually sitting behind our tree, but this is actually from 2021, so we just save it. We put them all back in and kind of randomly take them out, and it's just a fun little way to get a little cuddly reading in. You pull one out and you get a little Disney booklet. It's actually a full-blown story in just a teeny tiny form. Sometimes we'll read these of a night, sometimes we'll read them of a morning. But again, if you're wanting to keep just a low key thing, this is a great way to do it. I've also seen people borrow books from the library, wrap them up, unwrap them each day, you could definitely do that too. And then you get them back out of your house and they're not taking up space. Now, circling back over with the Advent, this is an Advent read. So every day you would read one chapter. We did this last year, so we're not doing it again this year, but there is a second one. But I had enough stuff that I wanted to use this year that I thought I would just wait till next year to either reread this one and then do the second one the following year, because we're outgrowing just a few of the things that I might show you later today. But yes, here is How Winston Delivered Christmas. Super duper adorable. It's about a little mouse named Winston, and so every day you have a little bit of reading, a couple of colorful pictures on each chapter, and then at the end there is a little activity at the end of every day. So every day that you read something, you have a little activity. So you can decide, do I want to do the activity that day? Do I not? But this one is a cute one. You can either add this in with some Christmas school, or you can just kind of do this on its own. Again, you decide how much or how little you want to add to your Christmas season. But How Winston Delivered Christmas is a cute one, and I liked that there are already some ideas in there. Another one that we read last year was The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. Teeny tiny little book. It's a very old one. It is so cute. Oh, it is so cute. And this year we actually saw the movie. There was a free movie on YouTube that you can watch this. It's an old one, a really, really old one. So what this is about a little family, the Herdmans, which are really kind of a rascally bunch of kids that don't really have a whole lot of parental influence, and they have decided that they are going to join the church's Christmas pageant program, and it is so good. It is so cute. Really, really quick read. Highly recommend this one. We loved this. And like I said, we watched the movie this year, read the book last year. All right, as far as this year's read aloud, I'm doing it just a little bit different. She is doing the read aloud, I guess you could say. This is our Christmas read. Let's put it that way. This is our main Christmas read. This is The Girl Who Saved Christmas, and she is reading this as her independent read, and I also purchased the Audible version, and so some days she will listen to it and follow along. I think that's just kind of good for her to kind of see how things are read exactly. And so we thought we would try that with our Christmas read. This is the second book in A Boy Called Christmas, which was our read aloud last year. So we read this. There is a Netflix film, Boy Called Christmas. So we did a nice comparison of the two. But this year she is reading this by herself. She has read it to me a few times, but that is the read. Now, let's look into some units that I have. All right, one of my favorite units involves the Jan Brett books, which if you have never seen Jan Brett books, they are beautifully illustrated, really, really gorgeous. I love the Jan Brett books, so even if I didn't have a unit study to go with them, I would really, really enjoy this, just reading these books. And so we have the Gingerbread Baby. We have Who's That Knocking on Christmas Eve. We have the Wild Christmas Reindeer. And we have the 12 Days of Christmas. Now, I want to say this is our third year doing this. And this will likely be the last year that we do the unit study, because I believe it's for like K-2. So we're kind of like maxing out a little bit on everything that's been included, and we've kind of done it. So if I use these again next year, I'll kind of need to build my own thing around them, which I think going into 5th grade, we can still read picture books. We can still gather information from picture books and have fun. So I don't doubt that I will use a few of these next year. I just don't think I'll use the unit with them because we've kind of maxed out our resources on that. However, that is not to say that it is not a good unit study, because it is. And so this is from buildyourlibrary.com right there, and it is the Jan Brett Christmas Unit Study. So each book comes with some information. You have copy work, you have vocabulary words, you have activities, and then she creates printables that kind of goes along with them. So for the gingerbread baby, we did that one today, and we talked about the vocabulary words that were in there, and we talked about a circular story, which is where a book begins and ends at the same place, and you have like give a mouse a cookie, give a pig a pancake. There's different examples that you can use to kind of tie in and talk about that circular story. Like I said, there is the copy work, and then it also has like a Venn diagram comparison where you might read another gingerbread book and compare the two books. Like, what was different about this one? What was different about that one? What was the same with them? So that is kind of what included on that one. I would say of the four, this one maybe has the least amount, but it is also a baking day where you would bake gingerbread. But over here with the Christmas reindeer and who's that knocking on Christmas Eve, we're going to be tying in a lot of a map study as far as like we're going to be discussing Norway. We're going to be talking about reindeer anatomy, things like that. So these two kind of have more educational oomph, if I could just say it in like a random way, because there is more that I can kind of pull with these two. And so this one, I'm going to add in like a polar bear study. We're going to add some polar bear drawings and things like that. And so I tried to beef it up just a little bit this year because, like I said, it's really for K through 2. And I do want to gain just a little bit more educational facts and things like that out of it, but it's been great. I haven't ever done anything extra with it until this year, but I do really, really like it, and I think it's great. Now, one that I don't think we have ever done fully yet is the 12 Days of Christmas, and it's because I don't ever get this scheduled in time. I always want to try to do it after Christmas because the 12 Days of Christmas happens after Christmas. But this year I have this happening the week before Christmas, and then that way we will hopefully get this one done and enjoy this book and all of the information that we are going to get out of the unit study. So what I did is I went ahead and I just wrote down a list of everything that is included in all of these. And then that way I have an idea, okay, with the Wild Christmas Reindeer, we're going to read it, we're going to do the vocabulary, we're going to do some reindeer facts, maybe a reindeer visit, compare and contrast elk, caribou, reindeer, that kind of thing. That's where I'm talking about. I kind of want to go a little bit deeper. And then we're going to draw a reindeer. I did the same thing here with Who's Knocking on Christmas Eve. And this is where I'm kind of tying in some other of the unit studies that I'm going to show you. And we're going to talk about Norway. We're going to do the polar bear facts. We're going to draw a polar bear. We're going to talk about the northern lights. A lot of this is included in it. Others are not. So because this is only 4 books, I'm able to spread this out really nicely where I don't feel like we're overwhelmed by adding more with unit studies, which I'm planning to do. Now, as far as Christmas school, really quick, we are doing unit study things like this along with other stuff, which I'm going to show you, but we're also doing math and we are continuing our language arts. Now, our language arts, we're doing writing, we're doing spelling, we're working with like fragments and writing composition and all those sorts of things, but maybe they're just tailored Christmassy. So maybe our fragments might say something about Santa or reindeer, or maybe our writing assignment will be something holiday-ish, or maybe we will tie in our writing assignment with what we've learned about Norway or what we have learned about reindeer or something like that. So we're keeping some of those cores. I'm just transitioning the topics to more of a holiday theme, as well as with math. We have like some writables, and we've been using those. They're very holiday themed, and we're just kind of like sprinkling that in there. Again, use what you want. Don't overwhelm yourself is the main thing, because I have done that before where I overwhelm myself and then it really wasn't any fun. Like, it was just kind of crazy. All right, up next is A Christmas Carol. And so this would be our read aloud, because let me tell you, this is a heavy read, sort of. The way that it is worded, the verbiage is just a lot different than just your normal reading. It's really good. We're enjoying it. We did most of this last year, but I don't think we wrapped it up completely. And this is a unit study that is done by Little World Wonders. You can see right there, hopefully. This is really good. This is a 5-week program, and it is very Charlotte Mason-y. There is copy work, there's narration if you want to do it, there are crafts, you cook, there's history that you're talking about as far as like Victorian Christmas, when this was occurring, Charles Dickens, Queen Victoria, how Christmas cards have changed. Then there is poetry and a carol to go with every week, and then there's additional read-alouds to go with every week. The copy work comes in either print or cursive. We are really working on cursive this year, so that's something different, is that she's copying in cursive, which is really cool to be able to practice. And so you can see here, you do the copy work and then it says draw a picture of your home for that week. Really, really liking this. So the one thing is I made sure that I assigned enough time for the reading, because even though it's only like, what, 5 staves? Is it even that? Yeah, 5 staves. They're quite lengthy, and again, it doesn't just flow off the tongue super easily. So I find that I don't read aloud quite as long with this as I might otherwise be reading aloud. But this is really fun. We are enjoying it a lot. This is actually a bunch of the Build Your Library. This is the vocabulary words, and I find that that's kind of helpful to put your vocabulary words kind of in the book as they show up. You can kind of talk about them or something like that. But anyways, back to this one, Little World Wanderers. Here is like where we were talking about the poem that day, and then we have the Christmas Carol, which was Jingle Bells. It's a digital file, so if you were going to do it, it's going to be, you're going to receive it digitally, and you can print it or use it on your tablet or something like that. That's what we have been doing. But I really, really like this. There is some cooking involved. Again, we are taking some of it and not doing some of it. Like last year, we did the holly wand. Last year, we did the ghost in the jar. So I am omitting pretty much all of these crafts because I have crafts coming from other places, and so I'm kind of interweaving some things, and being holiday, I can easily do that, and that is where that planner has come into play also. So again, I just got a little piece of paper and I wrote down a Christmas Carol. I broke it into the weeks, and I kind of decided, what do I want to talk about that week? What am I already doing that I can combine with one of these weeks? And then I just kind of like piece it together into a way that works, which is what I'll show you at the end. All right. Don't judge me here, okay? I know this is a lot. You'll see when I show you like full blown out in the month, that is really not a lot. Like for us, it's not. But this is my 3rd year Christmas schooling, so I kind of have an idea of how much I really can accomplish in a day and it feel fun. If it gets to where it feels like too much, I'm going to back off one of the ones that isn't as entertaining, that we aren't enjoying as much. The next one that we are doing is the First Christmas by Gather Round. Okay, this is a very religious unit study. Okay, all of these other ones, they really haven't been religious. The only thing I can think of that's kind of like religious would be the Best Christmas Pageant Ever, because it takes place in the church and you have the whole Christmas story sort of going on there. But everything else has been very secular for the most part. Maybe there's a teensy bit in Little World Wanderers, just with like the songs, you know, Away in a Manger, some of the carols. But this is absolutely a Christian study of this Christmas story. So you are actually reading an excerpt of the birth of Jesus every day. You are reading this, and then you are going down the weeks talking about Mary and Joseph and the wise men and things like that. So this is a very detailed Christmas story unit study. This is the first year that I'm actually like really using this. We used it a little bit a few years ago. I wasn't digging it at that time, so I just put it away. But this year we're really liking it. It's working well for us. With the gather around, she has different levels. So you have like middle school, early elementary, pre, like even younger than this, and there's high school. So there's like notebooks that come along with it. Now, going back to that, I use what I want to. We're not using any of the notebooking here. What we are doing is we are reading the recitation every day. We are practicing and singing the carol, which a lot of times the carol might even be in the Christmas carol section. But there are different activities. I used my little thing again. And another thing I love about this is that it is only 12 lessons. Now, when I am doing Christmas, I don't want a full 30 days worth of stuff to do. I want to relax. I want to have fun. I want to get a little holiday without having just to have to know that I have to do every single one. I'd rather piece little things like this together where, I have 5 weeks of random things that I'm pulling out of this. I have the 4 books from Jan Brett that I can kind of pull in and use as necessary or as I want. And that's what I'm doing with this. So I'm not using the notebooking that goes with it. There's all sorts of little activities. The only few things that I have pulled out to use is we're going to write a card. So I have who could we write a card for, how might we encourage them, and then there was this template where they can like create their own card. So that is something that we're going to do in here. We are going to make some cookies. There was a cookie recipe. Another thing that I thought was super cute is like I'm thankful tags. I don't know if we'll do this, but I thought it was cute and I printed it off. The candy cane, how the candy cane can tie in with the whole Christmas story. If she wanted to make a little manger scene, there are little characters that you can print off, color, and like tape up or design however you want. And so those are really the only things out of the notebook that we're going to be using. Most of it is, as you can see, we're going to just read it and do kind of the carols that go along with it. There are also really fun like discussion guides to go with like the Grinch, the best Christmas pageant ever, the Star, the Polar Express, Arthur Christmas is on there somewhere, and I think there's like maybe one more movie. So there's like 3 built-in movies that have like a discussion guide. Now the movies are not all like Christmas stories, like the Grinch and Arthur Christmas, things like that. That's not like the biblical Christmas story, but the whole rest of it is. And so this is from Gather Around. We're really, really enjoying that this year. And again, I'm just taking from it what I want out of it and setting the rest aside because it's my Christmas school. What is this, you ask? Why, it happens to be a list of all of the countries that come with Christmas around the world, which is something I have on my tablet here. Let me pull that up. All right, back in what I want to say, like November, Sunlight sent out a little thing on Instagram or something, I don't know, where they were going to be offering Christmas around the world. And I signed up for it and I received it. And it's really, really quite fantastic for adding in with some of my other studies. So like the Who's That Knocking on Christmas Eve? I believe we're in Norway. So what I did is I just checked off the ones that I really want to make sure that I covered. Now there are 19 countries that they're covering. I'm not doing all 19 because I don't have the time, nor is that something I really want to do. But I have pulled out ones that like go with some of our studies. The Christmas Carol, we're going to be talking about Great Britain, things like that. So I tied all of those in and kind of listed out where they might pull in with one of my other unit studies. But this shows you all of the countries that are going to be covered in this. And then you kind of have a reader's guide here. And I think this is still available for free. I know for sure that you can at least go to their website, and they're releasing podcasts throughout the whole month. I think they started back in November. And so you can click on it and it will tell you the podcast, kind of give you all the verbiage that you would find here in the pink boxes. And that's been really nice. It's just been something nice to tie in. This is where we're kind of getting some of our history and our geography. So we're talking about a country, we're finding it on the map. Sometimes I have her draw what the country looks like. I have her draw what the flag looks like. We talk about the weather, and then we talk about on the globe, like northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, the equator, why their weather might be similar or different from ours. And then it has like the greetings, the dates that that country has celebrations, what those celebrations are like. There's also a Spotify like song list. And so we've been able to listen to some songs that are in a different language that we really didn't know what they were saying, but it had the tune of maybe one we did know. So we kind of assumed that was probably what they were saying. But this has been really fun. Again, this was completely free. There's really not much with this as far as like if I didn't build it out. So if I didn't build out the countries and stuff, it would be a super duper quick little read. And so this could be great to either bring into a broader view or keep it very minimal like this and just be like, oh, very cool. They actually celebrate St. Lucia Day and Christmas Eve, and their gift bearer is Father Christmas. And so it's just really cool. Recipes are involved, so if you want to just occasionally make a recipe, you could pull some of these out. If you want to have 19 recipes or more, you've got that too. So this is another one that we are utilizing. That is almost it. Let's look at my last thing. All right, the last thing I think, and then I'll show you how I have planned all of this, and you'll see that it really isn't quite as crazy as it looks. This is the 25 Days of Christmas. This is a family devotional, and again, this is very religious. This is talking about the birth of Jesus, how to celebrate Jesus. So this is a full-blown Christmas study here. Just a little devotional. I say study, it's not. It's a devotional. It's a daily devotional. There's always a little celebrate section or something down here at the bottom. You're either going to create something or you're going to talk about something as a family. And so that is what this is all about. This is another one that we are just doing of a morning. It's 25 days, which I do really bad. Well, 24 days. I really do bad at those, honestly, for keeping up because we don't on the weekend. So we always get behind, which is why I loved Gather Around so much, is because it wasn't a full month thing. There was only 12 lessons to kind of get into the month. I really appreciate that about this one, is that it's really easy to incorporate and not feel like you get behind. Because these ones that are like for 5 weeks and 25 days, it gets a bunch. It gets to be a bunch because holidays are busy. And so this one, I'm sure we won't finish on time because we probably won't read it on the weekend. I don't think to do these things on the weekend. We read over the weekend, but we usually don't do any of this. Now, how in the world have I planned all of this to actually be able to complete in the month of December? Well, I'm glad you asked. Again, I am using this in my School Nest notebook. So let's get you... All right, hopefully the shadows and stuff aren't too much. So the first thing that I did is I went out and I crossed out days that I knew weren't going to work. Just right off the bat, I knew that the 5th was going to be an errands day. We weren't doing anything that day. Thursday is a co-op day. We're not really going to have time for anything that day. And then every other Friday, Dad is off. And so I didn't put anything on the 8th. And I really didn't put much here. So if we don't get these two things done, no big deal. If we happen to be hanging around around the house and want a little something to do, I put some options down. Now, what I started with were the things that I really wanted to do the most, the things that I prioritized the most, and most of those things were the Christmas Carol unit study. I wanted to do that one. So I put that down as much as I could, how I thought I could work that out. Then the other one is I wanted to do my Jan Brett unit studies with the 4 picture books because it's likely we won't do those next year. So I wanted to plan those out. So those were the 2 that I kind of prioritized. And then I went in and I put in my sunlight countries and I tried to coordinate those throughout the time. So you can see here on Monday, I had for Gather Around that we were going to write a card, craft, and do a little tree thing here. For the Christmas Carol, we'd have our carol and our poetry that would go along with some reading that day. And then for Sunlight, she loves a Dr. Pol, so I wanted to make sure that we studied the Netherlands to figure out where Dr. Pol originally came from and how he might have had Christmas as a boy. So this one actually turned into quite a big day with the Netherlands. We did map work. We did all sorts of studies about the Netherlands and learned that they are like the flower country of the world or something. They have a ton of flowers. And so that is how we did all of this. We did not write a card and we did not do this craft, but that's okay. We had a really good day and we went down this rabbit hole pretty deep. So that is fine. For the 6th, I have that we're going to bake cookies. We're going to hopefully do that today. Today's the 6th. We have not read the Christmas Carol at all today. We did the gingerbread baby. We talked about the circular story. The weather is absolutely amazing today. So you know what? We went outside and we played a ton. So if we don't bake cookies today, maybe we'll do that on Friday. If we don't, maybe sometime this weekend. We've already kind of done this, and I think I can catch up with this Christmas Carol later. So again, I'm not sweating it too bad if I'm not doing these things. Here, Gather Around happened to be talking about snowflakes one day where you can like cut out snowflakes. I think we'll do that. For Christmas Carol, we're doing Charles Dickens history. There is a read aloud that I want to do that's called Dear Mr. Dickens. It's a really good one. And because this is kind of, and because of how this is like tying into other things, we'll do Israel for the Sunlight. And then we'll just keep going along. What we do, we do. What we don't get done, we don't get done. And I'm not going to stress about it. That's the biggest thing. And so here I had talked about the 12 days of Christmas. You can see I have it tied in to the 21st and the 22nd. So I'm hoping I can finish those up before Christmas. I also noted when public school gets out so that I know, okay, we're going to have family and friends that are going to want to be hanging out. So anything after the 21st might just be a wash. So you can see I didn't really schedule anything. If we just happen to not have anything to do, nobody's over on the 27th and 28th, we might hit some of those sunlights. We might pull in some of the other activities or crafts that we didn't do. And that is how I'm doing our Christmas school. I'm keeping the cores, and all of this stuff is kind of the little extra add-ins and replacements of our electives. We're not doing history. We're not doing science. We're doing this. And so it looks like a lot, but when you saw on the actual month, it really... So here, you can see that it really doesn't come out to a lot every single day. So here, we're reading some Charles Dickens. We're going to quickly read this Advent that goes super fast. So the Jan Bretts are sprinkled throughout. We'll do the recitation from Gathered Round. Again, it goes really fast if we want it to, or we dive in deep if we want to. Now, I am using my dailies to write down all of those things that I had come up with in the month. That way, I don't have to do it again on planning day. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Let me know, what are you doing for Christmas? Or is it routine as normal, or are we sprinkling some stuff in? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one.